The second learning target for day one is understanding how to take a word problem and translate it into a math sentence, aka an equation. So the first thing we need to understand is that math is another language. And so while I see three sentences listed here, each sentence is going to translate and give me enough information to create a math equation. Okay, so I'm going to first read through this problem. So it says the perimeter. So the first thing I need to know is what's a perimeter? Okay, and remember the perimeter is the sum of all sides, okay, of a triangle is 22 feet. So is 22 feet is also important. So is the English equivalent to an equal sign, 22 feet. And we know the side lengths are, so this is other important information, x, 3x, and 6 feet. And it says write an equation and find the missing side lengths. So we're going to go through each word problem. We're going to follow the same criteria for success. So the first thing we're going to always do is we're going to draw a diagram. So what shape are we talking about here? Here we're talking about a triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a triangle. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Okay, and what do I know about the side lengths? I know that I have a side length of x, 3x, and 6. So that's my diagram. Step 2 is we're going to write an equation and show some work. So let's think about this in words. Step 2. In words, I know the perimeter is 22. Okay, and remember we said perimeter is the sum, so we're going to be adding up our side lengths. So in this case, I have a side plus a side plus a side equals 22. So my equation would be x plus 3x plus 6 equals 22. And the order I write those terms in does not matter. Okay. If I was talking about a rectangle, I'd have 4 sides to add. And our last step is we're going to solve the equation and then we're going to answer the question. And we're not going to forget our units. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation to figure out. So it says write an equation, which we did, which is this part. And then it says find the missing side lengths. So now we're going to go ahead and solve for x. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my like terms. So I get 4x plus 6 equals 22. I'm going to subtract 6 using inverse operations from both sides. I get 4x equals 16. 4 times x, inverse operation of multiplication is division. And so I get x equals 4. Okay, but I'm not done because think about the question. It said find the missing side lengths. So now we're going to answer the question. So remember, I have 3 side lengths. So what I like to do, if I'm answering 3, I'll leave 3 blanks, right? And let's talk about the first side length. So the first side length we mentioned is an x. So instead of writing x, what am I going to write? So instead of an x, we know x is 4, and my units are feet. Let's look at the next side length. I have a 3x. Well, we said x is 4. 3 times 4 is 12 feet. And then my last side length we knew, which was 6, so that's 6 feet. So when it said find the missing side lengths, they are 4, 12, and 6. So example 3, we're going to practice writing an equation again from a word problem. So it says the length of a rectangle is 4 units more than 2 times the width. So let's go through and translate this. The length, I'm going to use L. I don't really know what it is. Oops, I always do that. L, remember, is translates to an equal sign. 4 units. More than, so more than is the addition sign. 2 times is multiplication. And the width we don't know, so we're going to call it W. So right now, by reading my first sentence, I've translated to L equals 4 plus 2W. I also, second sentence, know that the perimeter is 32. Also important, right? We know the whole thing is going to sum to 32. And it says find the length and width of the rectangle described. So let's go through our steps, our criteria for success. Again, step 1 is we're going to draw a diagram. What shape are we talking about here? We're talking about a rectangle. So we're going to draw a rectangle. Doesn't have to be perfect. I also know a rectangle has a length and a width. Okay, and let's label what we know. I know that my length, which is what we talked about in yellow, is here and here. We said is represented by the expression 4 plus 2w. And I'm going to write it down twice because on a rectangle I have that twice. The width, we don't know what it is, but we said the width is going to be a w. So what we're going to do on our diagram is we're going to add a w to wherever we had a width. Okay. Step 2 says write an equation and solve. So we're going to write an equation. So I'm going to start with perimeter, right? Let's talk about what it means again. Perimeter is the sum of all sides, and we know it's got to equal 32. How many sides do I have in this case? I have 4. So I'm just going to write it out in words. Side plus side. Okay, I can even be more specific, and you don't have to write this down, but length, and I have 2 width, and so I'm going to fill in what I know. And so I filled in my 4 side lengths, and we need to find the missing length and width, so I'm going to pause the video. I want you to try to solve for W and answer the question. Unpause the video when you're ready to check your answer. So you can double check that you got the length to be 12 feet and the width to be 4, I shouldn't say units. It's units. I don't think feet was used anywhere. So we're going to say units. And you can always check your answer in a real world type problem, because let's think about this. If I have a rectangle and I say this is 12 and 12, 4 and 4, I know the whole thing sums to 32, and it does. So that's how you checked your answer. So your final answer is the length is 12 units and your width is 4 units. And that completes Day 1 notes.